What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I figured I'd talk to you guys a little bit about the communication that's been going on at Blizzard, or really the lack thereof, and how that I think that for a lot of people that kind of translates into a bigger issue, which is confidence in the company, Blizzard, in terms of running World of Warcraft. Now, before I really get into the video too much, I do want to say one thing, or two things actually, is that a lot of my videos, I try to be funny, I try and tell jokes, I try to be sarcastic, I try to make people laugh, but, in doing that, sometimes it's people kind of, they misinterpret jokes for facts and vice versa. And so in this video, we're not going to be doing any of that shit. It's just going to be me and you. We're going to be having a discussion about this, talking one-on-one, just directly about it. And so, just so there's no miscommunication that can be had. Also, I really wasn't going to do a video about this, but I saw like a buddy of mine too, Az from Heal vs. Babyface and Belure from Belure Gaming. They both did videos about this, and it just really kind of got me thinking about it. And I was thinking about doing a video, and then I decided not to. Then I started thinking about it more, and here we are. And so anyway, again, I just wanted to kind of make sure that you guys kind of know really kind of where I'm coming from. And, I don't really like to do a whole lot of videos really criticizing Blizzard or really being positive. I try to be, I guess, like, as realistic, not really objective or, positive or negative, just as realistic as possible. And, sometimes I'm obviously everybody gets upset, everybody gets mad, but that's really kind of what my goal is to be as realistic as possible. And so anyway, guys, I did want to say that. And so I think that really what this confidence, really lack of confidence, has really kind of stemmed from mostly is miscommunications or different lines of communication saying different things. And I'll use a couple of examples. For one, we had a lot of these are actually going to be related around flying, because I think that everybody really kind of knows how much of a clusterfuck that's been. Recently, they announced that flying would be released on patch 6.2.2, which is going to come out on September 1st. I did a video about that. I think you guys probably do remember that if you watched that video. And so anyway, they made this post. Rigarius, I think it was, he's one of the community managers for Blizzard, makes a post saying that it's going to come out on September 1st. This is the date. It's coming out on this day, right? Later on in the same day, Lore, who's one of the other community managers, says that it will probably come out on this date. Basically a non-for-sure thing. Now, I think that every reasonable person knows that there are, things that are kind of out of Blizzard's control, like an earthquake happens or something like that, and for whatever reason, they're not able to get the patch out on time. I think that we all really kind of know that that is a possibility, and that if that happens, okay, shit happens, right? But, outside of that, I don't really think that, that was really what they were trying to say. And that really, like, kind of whenever you have these two different, both of these people are representing Blizzard, are representing Blizzard at that time. It's not just them saying it, like, whenever they're off work on, like, a stream, a personal stream, or on their personal Twitter or something like that. They're speaking for Blizzard, and one of them is saying that it might happen, and the other one is saying that it will happen. And obviously, these are contradictory statements. And whenever you have, like, really kind of miscommunication like this, it makes a lot of people wonder, including myself. Usually miscommunication is in a way like kind of a mining canary or a precursor or something that like kind of is an indicator of mismanagement, or at least not coordinated, like they don't really know entirely what's going on. And whenever people don't know really what's going on, of course that's going to, lead them to say different things, and that's going to lead the people who are listening to those things to lose confidence in really what's going on. It's not like, okay, this is happening right then, everybody knows what's going on, and then, that's really all there is to it. And so whenever you have things like this happening, I think that people have been losing a little bit of confidence just because of these different communication problems. And another one, of course, is the flying announcement. Now, flying was announced to not be in Wards of Draenor on those things like a Polygon article. A lot of people got mad because it was on a third-party site. I didn't really like that. That didn't really bother me a lot personally, but I can see why some people would get mad. But either way, so then everybody got really pissed off about that. Hearing never is a lot different than hearing probably not, and at least even for me, it kind of bothered me with the flying thing as well. And so, they did a Q&A session with Ian Hazzikostas, who's the another lead designer of World of Warcraft, and he basically said that flying would be coming out in Wards of Draenor because they changed their mind because of such a big outrage within, like, I guess, like the community and whatever about flying. They changed their mind and said, okay, we're going to allow flying back in Wards of Draenor because the the continent was designed for flying. I didn't think it was in beta, but apparently I was wrong. It was designed for flying. And so anyway, they do this Q&A, and Ian Hazzikostas says that flying is going to come out in Wards of Draenor, and this was on June 13th, I think. He said that it was going to come out within a number of weeks and not months, and it's September 1st. I think I did the math. It was 11 weeks. And so that can also translate into 2 months. That was a joke, by the way. That was a joke. And, so obviously it took longer than expected. And one thing that I think that really, for me, as I said, I think that there are always going to be people who are a little bit unreasonable or get upset about things. Because of course, things should happen the way they're supposed to happen, but they usually don't. And, kind of denying that shit happens is really kind of denying reality. And whenever you start doing that, then it's just, down the rabbit hole of craziness and unrealistic expectations. And so really what happened is that Lore made a post about how flying, it took longer than they expected to put flying back into Wards of Draenor, because whenever they did the, they made the servers allow, for more players in Draenor, it fucked up, the way that people were flying around, and they had to debug it all over again. And it just ended up taking more time, and they couldn't have really known that that was going to happen, or at least they probably didn't know that that was going to happen. And so I really kind of understand, really kind of why it happened. And honestly, it didn't really bother me too much that they just came out and just told us, yo, this is what happened. It's going to take a little bit longer than usual. Now, sometimes, as I said before, people might have these expectations that Blizzard should always tell us exactly what's going on whenever it's happening. That's really never going to happen. And so even if you think that that's what should happen, it's just never going to happen. And so instead of kind of worrying about that and thinking about that, I think that we really should look for a better medium between the two of them never talking to us and always talking to us that's more realistic and reasonable and better for everybody. And I think this is also kind of is a two-way street in terms of developers and also the players. And in a way, I think that because I was I was reading the Ask FM of, I think, Greg Street. It might have been the Ask FM, it was somewhere. And Greg Street is, by the way, ghostcrawler. He was a former, World of Warcraft lead designer. He moved over to Riot Games, which is the people who develop League of Legends. And he was talking about two different things. He was talking about, one, how Riot Games encourages all developers really to, interface and talk with the to the player base and engage the player base directly. And it compares, that's different, contrasts that with what Blizzard does, and they have more of what he called a spokesperson policy, where there are only certain people who are really, I'm not really going to say, it's probably not really the right word, but that are supposed to communicate and speak on Blizzard's behalf. And, I think that you can see that much more evident now that Ghostcrawler is gone. I think that Ghostcrawler kind of served as that that medium between the players and the developers, and he kind of served to kind of understand and listen to the complaints of the players and speak for the developers, and also be the person that you talk to. And I think that having that one person that you do talk to, that person that at Blizzard, that people always blame everything on, but at the same time, even though they're blaming everything on this person, he's the person that you can actually get answers from and, get real information from and maybe get a real dialogue from. And I think this kind of translates, I think it was Kurt Vonnegut said that in a book, you're supposed to have, the writer is supposed to create a character that the readers can root for. And the parallel that I'm trying to draw here is that there has to be somebody that the players can kind of go to and talk to, and at least they have kind of a positive opinion on. A lot of people didn't like Ghostcrawler, and I think that that's the same with anything, really. It's like the president, no matter who the president is, there's going to be a whole bunch of people who fucking hate him. As soon as he leaves office, oh, well, he was a great guy, right? And, I think, you can see this now, and it's really kind of the same with everything. And so, people were very negatively, opposed to Ghostcrawler. At least some of them were, but a lot of people did like him. And so after he left, a lot of people said, oh, it's too bad Ghostcrawler left. He was really great because, this communication thing. And I think that regardless of any of the real changes that Ghostcrawler made positively or negatively, I think that we can really all agree, well, we can't really all agree, but I can personally say that communication that he had with the players was absolutely invaluable, and it really kind of helped people feel like they were being heard, they were being understood, and there was somebody listening to them at Blizzard who really kind of had real authority at the company, and they could speak on their behalf, and did actually interact with them. Now we don't really have that. I don't really feel that we have that. We have the Twitter, and it's like that's the other thing that ghostcrawler did talk about. The other aspect is that the two-way street between developers and players is that some of the player fan sites, like even the official forums, have gotten, really like so toxic that Blizzard doesn't even post on their own official forums very often. They post on Twitter more than the official forums. Seems pretty bad, and you have like that very, very negative type of atmosphere. You have like MMO Champion that isn't really as bad. Reddit is, I would say, a little bit more positive, and then the smaller sites. Not even really sure which ones. There's like, of course, like the YouTube community, stuff like that, Twitch community, stuff like that. But anyway, like having those very, very negative and very kind of like a toxic community makes developers less likely to try and engage the community, because everything that they say will, of course, be taken as a lie or something like that. And also, is this really, I guess, like warranted? Do they really deserve this? And really, I think that again, like I try to be realistic, and some of it, like the flying thing, has gone back and forth so many times. There's been so many miscommunications, missteps, changes of opinion, changes of course, that people are really kind of like whatever they say, like they'll believe it whenever, they can get up in the air. But, I think that for a lot of stuff, people really kind of do distrust Blizzard a lot more, and whether they deserve it or not is really kind of a separate issue. But I try to at least like listen to what they say, and then I guess like draw my own conclusions. And I think that would help for a lot of people. And I don't really ever like to tell people what to do, because for one, they don't have to listen to me, and they probably won't. But also, it just seems like preaching and whatever. But I will kind of make, I guess, like, this isn't even really an exception. This is an obvious thing that everybody knows, is that if you're more understanding and, you don't kind of take things into hyperbole and, over exaggeration and everything like that, things will kind of, you'll probably have a much better and more productive conversation. And I think that everybody, like the World of Warcraft community is very different than other communities in other games. I don't think there's any game, like the IP Warcraft is over like 20 years old, right? And so, you have people who have grown up playing this game, and, they have a vested emotional interest in this game. And so, changes that Blizzard makes, it makes these players feel like they're not being listened to. It's like a personal, like emotional affront to them. It's very upsetting. People are very wrapped up into it. And, it's very easy to let your emotions get a hold of you. And of course, I get mad all the time. And sometimes I get too mad in videos. Of course I do. I try to be realistic, and everybody does, and everybody fails, okay? But it's important to at least try, okay? At least try, at least look at things level-headedly, reasonably, and see, really kind of what's going on. And I know that, like, kind of after, like, Warlords of Draenor and, the continuous miscommunications like this, people have really, like, what I was talking about at the beginning of this video, which was really the point of it, is that they've really kind of lost confidence in Blizzard to really deliver on what they said. And for me personally, like, back in the day, like, I kind of always, I thought of Blizzard as, like, one of the companies, like, there are a lot of other gaming companies, but if Blizzard made a game, like, it was the best game, okay? It was the best game of whatever, genre that was out there. Warcraft was the best, not FPS, RTS, real-time strategy game. StarCraft 2 comes out. Now it's the biggest one. Diablo is probably the biggest action RPG. World of Warcraft, biggest MMO. And so people have like a really, really high expectations and high standards for Blizzard to really deliver the most excellent and best content. And those standards are not undeserved. They've done this for 20 years. And I think that that's really what a lot of people's lack of confidence and discontent has come from, is that it seems like they're kind of slipping from that, at least for me personally, with some of the decisions that they have made with Warlords of Draenor. And really, I think that the best way that really players, individuals see that is these miscommunications and, flip-flopping on issues. And I do also want to say one thing. Flip-flopping on an issue, it can be a good thing. Not all flip-flopping is bad. Sometimes if you put out something and people don't really like your idea, the stupid thing would be to keep going along with it, and the smart thing would be to flip-flop and to change based on what your customers really want. and that's the most important thing that you can do. And honestly, I think that, I really wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about where I think that a lot of this is coming from. And developers, like we had that one guy, it was like a couple of days ago, like some guy on Twitter didn't really have like a breakdown or anything, or started talking about how developers would be much more likely to communicate on the forums if people kind of didn't take everything that they said as a lie. And in a way, a lot of people kind of interpreted it as like blaming the player base for the developers' problems. And I don't really know. I don't really want to talk about that too much. But things like that are really kind of good evidence of why Blizzard does have that spokesperson policy of not really just having everybody communicate for the company, because you can have those miscommunications. And whenever you do, especially with something as big and controversial as flying, and not really, it wasn't really that big of a deal. It was just like a lot of people were very, very loud about it. But you do have other issues that are similar to that, and you're hearing one thing and then something different the same day, it does kind of make you lose confidence and, wonder really what is really going on. And I think that a lot of us, that's really kind of what I want to know, is just what's going on, what to expect, and, basically, just the basic facts and, what's going on. As I said, like 3 times, what's going on. Like that's pretty much what I want to know. And anyway, guys, I want to kind of have this video and, just talk to you guys directly and have a discussion about this issue that I think has been more of a problem recently than it has been in the past. And I do think that it would be really great if Blizzard could have like one person that is either on the forums all the time or on Twitter all the time, talking with people, like having a discussion, a conversation with the players, and, making sure that the players feel like their criticisms, their complaints, their, I guess, like their praise, all of that stuff is being heard. And I think that would really go a long way, not just, in terms of getting people to believe them whenever they do say something, but also getting players to, I guess, like have that, get that confidence back in the game. I think the Blizzard's probably had one of the most loyal fan bases and player bases across its games of really any company I can think of. And, that's really why it's so important for them to kind of keep that. And, that's what's kept their games, Wards of Draenor came out with 10 million people playing the game. Like, that's ridiculous for a nearly 10-year-old game at that time. And so anyway, guys, I did want to kind of have this discussion with you guys and telling you pretty much what's going on, my opinions, and let me know what you guys think. I guess it is kind of more of a controversial subject, but hopefully I was as direct and realistic as possible. And so that's pretty much all I got. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.